Nation of Fit in 10, welcome to day 26. And scans started today, and we saw some really good results. You can see, at least some of you saw, that sometimes your weight doesn't change. I mean, sometimes it does. Sometimes you lose weight and you lose fat. But sometimes you lose fat and the weight, your body weight doesn't change, okay? And again, this typically happens, if you've lost anywhere from whatever, well, I guess we could say 0 to, 6-7 pounds of fat. That doesn't necessarily reflect on the scale. All right, and just a reminder, this is because we tend to see, especially when you get back into training, because a lot of you the training is new or you're getting back into it. There's more water retention in the body, both in and out, both inside the muscle and around the body. This is normal. There's nothing wrong with this. This just means that you're better hydrated. And this tends to happen especially with resistance training. So don't be concerned with that, right? Weight is not necessarily a reflection of your body composition, right? Which you're learning. So now, obviously, as you keep losing fat, then, that's going to override the water retention, and you're going to start to see some reduction in body weight regardless. Okay, so more of your feedback here. This person writes, I felt much more on track last week after completing my meal prep for the week. Kudos to you for doing meal prep. I find that my meal plan is easy to stick with when I have a regular day, but there are occasions that involve food, parentheses, birthday dinners, work conferences with food. It's harder to stick to the plan. For the coming weeks, I'll need to stick to my meal plan no matter what events I have planned for the week, all part of the overall fitness challenge. Yeah, listen, if you don't have to eat at these events, and really, I'm going to say, for the most part, you probably don't. Now, I've been to functions before where you sit down and it's like everybody's eating at the same time and something's served to you. So, I understand that in those circumstances, it might be a little bit more challenging. But for the most part, either, at least for this challenge, try to refrain from eating, or at the very least, stick with, hopefully there's a choice, stick with the foods that are more of the real whole foods. Again, if you're eating real whole foods, you're making some good choices there. And at least at this point in the challenge, you'll know what you're eating, right? So if you're eating an apple, you're probably getting somewhere between 80 and probably 140 calories, and that's all carbohydrates, and it's going to be somewhere between 20 and probably 30 grams of carbohydrates in that range. Well, maybe you don't know that, but okay, the point is if you go and enter that into your app, you're going to be relatively close. Now, I don't want you to estimate, but if there are times where you're caught off guard or whatnot, or you have to estimate, okay, just do your best with that. But for the most part, again, like this person here, the meal prep in advance is gonna help you the most. Pre-planning all of your meals in advance is gonna make the biggest difference. So again, do your best. This whole thing is learning and, coming across certain times, or there are certain scenarios that maybe you just unpredictable, right? Especially when it comes to work. So just do your best, but again, always think real whole foods. You will not make a wrong choice. Yes, it matters how much you eat and what you eat. But you're always gonna be making a better choice if you stick with those real whole foods, right? If you can pick it, pull it, kill it, or harvest it, okay, those are going to be the good foods, okay? Calorie sparse, nutrient dense, good choices. Okay, how am I doing here for time? 4 minutes? Okay. I've had a couple people ask about choices of red meat. So here are my 3 choices. And this is just typically because these are leaner sources. This is why I choose them, because you can obviously get a fattier source of red meat. So here are the 3, and there are more actually, but here are 3 that I really enjoy. I usually always get iRound, by the way, but that's not the leanest. iRound typically for 3.5 ounces, you're getting about 40 grams of protein and probably about 8 grams of fat. But if you look at sirloin tip or top round, they're even leaner. Okay, so actually sirloin tip and top round are probably leaner than chicken breast, if you can believe that. So those are great choices for cuts of red meat. You can also, although it's harder to find in Canada, you can find if you go to Trader Joe's, you can get 96% lean ground beef. 96% lean ground beef at Trader Joe's. They may even have a 97. I think I've seen 97 somewhere. Typically in the States they have that, and that's just super lean, especially for a ground. So that's another good way to go. All right. Okay. Message of the day on this day 26. Don't call it a dream, call it a plan. We've got a plan for this, right? As I mentioned before, pre-plan your meals, pre-make your meals. I think it was Tercel that posted some of her meals. She posted a picture of some of her meals in Slack. I know there's somebody else in this challenge that and I don't suggest doing this, but this person's fine with it. They just make themselves 2 meals and then they add some vegetables and perhaps a little bit of fruit to it. But they have just 2 meals a day, not just 2 meals. They've constructed 2 meals, and I think they eat it 4 times. So he eats each of these 2 meals twice a day. It meets his macros, and then if he has to just increase or decrease his carbs or whatever, he just throws in some, removes or adds in some vegetables or fruit. So, but the point is getting that rhythm of planning things out. The planning is going to make a world of a difference, okay? And this is really the only way, and I've said this from the get-go. I said this on day 1. I even said it in the meeting before the challenge started, that you've got to plan in advance. You just have to, okay? If you try to wing it, you're just not going to get it, all right? Plan it out, especially when you don't have that real knowledge of foods and what contains what, right? Okay, positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for love, God, give some gratitude, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.